The Ultimatum. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council shimmered with the bioluminescent glow of thousands of representatives from across the known reaches of space. Species of all descriptions filled the chamber, crystalline beings that refracted light in dazzling patterns, gaseous entities contained in environmental suits, and everything in between. At the center of it all stood Supreme Counselor Vexidian, his 4 arms raised for silence. "The motion carries," Vexidian announced, his voice amplified through the chamber's acoustic enhancers. "The Terran system must contribute to the defense of civilized space against the Scourge incursion, or face immediate economic sanctions and military intervention." The vote tally displayed on the massive holographic projection above the assembly -298 in favor, 52 against, 14 abstentions. The decision was overwhelming, as most had expected. Earth, that backward little world that had somehow achieved faster-than-light travel only a century ago, had been neutral for too long. The ongoing war against the Scourge, a hive-mind species from the galactic rim, was draining resources from all Council worlds. It was time the humans contributed their fair share. "The diplomatic envoy will depart immediately," Vexidian continued. "Earth's government will have one standard cycle to accept our terms, or face the consequences." Ambassador Tholan Wren of the Arcturian hegemony leaned toward his aide. "Those primitives won't know what hit them," he whispered. "Their ships are practically antiques. Did you know they still use reaction thrusters for orbital maneuvers?" His aide, a junior diplomat named Seli Ka, nodded dutifully but remained silent. Unlike many in the chamber, she had actually visited Earth as part of a cultural exchange. Something about the humans had struck her as odd. They seemed almost too accommodating, too willing to accept technological inferiority. It didn't match their rapid advancement in other areas. As the session adjourned, Counselor Vexidian retreated to his private chambers, where Admiral Zorax of the Council Defense Fleet awaited. "The envoy departs within the hour," Vexidian stated. "Prepare your ships to follow at a discreet distance. I want a show of force ready when the humans inevitably stall or refuse." Admiral Zorax, a hulking reptilian with scurred scales and cybernetic enhancements, nodded. "My battle group stands ready. 15 capital ships, 30 cruisers, and appropriate support vessels. More than enough to blockade their system and force compliance." "Excellent. Let's hope a minor demonstration will be sufficient. We can't afford to divert more resources from the Scourge front." The diplomatic vessel Voice of Reason departed from the Council hub, its sleek hull gleaming under the light of 3 suns. Aboard, Senior Emissary Krill prepared the formal ultimatum, checking and rechecking the translation for any possible misunderstandings. The humans were known to be pedantic about language. The journey to the Sol system would take 4 days, even with the most advanced Council drive systems. More than enough time for Earth to receive advance warning through the standard diplomatic channels. In the secure underground complex beneath the Rocky Mountains on Earth, the Terran Defense Council convened an emergency session. Admiral Helena Chen, commander of the Earth Defense Fleet, addressed the grim-faced assembly of military and civilian leaders. "The Council's diplomatic vessel departed 6 hours ago. Intelligence confirms a battle group is preparing to follow," she said, her voice steady. "It seems our policy of strategic obscurity is reaching its end." President Ileana Morales, the civilian head of the United Earth government, leaned forward. "After a century of preparation, they've finally called our bluff. Options." General Marcus Vega, head of the Terran Special Forces, cleared his throat. "Madam President, we can continue the charade or reveal our true capabilities. Either way, we cannot allow Council forces to establish military supremacy in our system." "What's the status of the Phantom Fleet?" asked Defense Secretary Omar Washington. Admiral Chen tapped her neural interface, bringing up a classified holographic display only visible to those in the room with proper security clearance. "Operation Silent Vanguard is fully operational. All 7 supercarriers and their battle groups are in position throughout the system, shielded by our quantum displacement technology. The Council has no idea they exist. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. For nearly a century, Earth had maintained a facade of technological inferiority, while secretly building one of the most advanced military forces in the galaxy. The quantum displacement technology, rendering massive ships completely undetectable to standard sensors, was just one of many innovations kept hidden from the wider galactic community. And the Jupiter shipyards? President Morales asked. Production has been accelerated, replied Industrial Director Sophia Nakamura. We can bring another supercarrier online within 2 months if needed. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, the president said. For now, we maintain the deception, but prepare for full disclosure. Admiral Chen, I want the Phantom Fleet ready to materialize at a moment's notice. General Vega, your special forces should prepare for potential boarding actions against Council vessels. The meeting continued for hours, weighing options and contingencies. Earth had played the long game, appearing weak while building strength, learning alien technologies while developing their own unique solutions. But soon, very soon, the galaxy would learn the truth. Aboard the Voice of Reason, Senior Emissary Krill was preparing to enter the Sol system when his first officer approached with obvious concern. Emissary, we're being hailed by a Terran vessel. They're requesting permission to escort us to Earth. Krill raised an eyebrow ridge, a gesture he'd adopted after studying human diplomacy. That's unexpected. Our arrival shouldn't be for another 16 hours. They claim to have detected our approach and dispatched a welcome ship. It's a small vessel, lightly armed. Typical Terran design. Very well. Accept their escort. It's a courtesy, nothing more. The small Earth ship, designated TDF Sentinel, took up position alongside the much larger Council vessel. Its design was exactly what the Council expected. Functional but unrefined, with visible thruster assemblies and a hull that showed signs of regular maintenance. Captain Maya Rodriguez of the Sentinel opened a visual communication channel. Welcome to the Sol system, Emissary Krill. I've been instructed to guide you safely to Earth. Our system has some navigational hazards that might not appear on your charts. Krill nodded graciously. We appreciate your assistance, Captain. I look forward to presenting the Council's proposal to your government. Rodriguez's expression remained professionally neutral. We've prepared accommodations for your delegation at our diplomatic compound. The President is eager to receive you. As the Council ship followed its humble escort toward Earth, none aboard realized that they were being scanned by technologies far beyond their comprehension. The small escort ship was transmitting detailed information about the Council vessel's capabilities, weaknesses, and the number of personnel aboard. Nor did they detect the 6 Phantom-class destroyers shadowing their approach, weapons primed but inactive. Earth was taking no chances with this delegation. The diplomatic reception took place in the United Earth Government headquarters in New Geneva. The gleaming white structure, with its soaring arches and crystal domes, represented humanity's rebirth after the resource wars of the 21st century. It was impressive by human standards, but modest compared to the grand edifices of older galactic civilizations. President Morales welcomed Emissary Krill and his delegation with all the pomp and ceremony expected. The people of Earth are honored by your visit, she said, her warm smile revealing nothing of the intense preparations taking place behind the scenes. Krill presented the formal ultimatum in the traditional manner, a physical document inscribed on virtually indestructible metallo-ceramic material, a council tradition meant to impress less advanced species. The Galactic Council requires Earth's full participation in the defense against the Scourge, he explained. This would entail providing 30% of your industrial output, conscription of 15 million personnel for non-combat roles, and basing rights for Council warships in your system. President Morales accepted the document with appropriate solemnity. This is indeed a significant request, Emissary. Our government will need time to consider all implications. Of course, Madam President. The Council understands this requires deliberation. Krill's tone became slightly firmer. However, I must emphasize that the Council expects a response within one standard cycle, approximately 26 of your Earth days. And if we find these terms challenging, asked Foreign Secretary Amadou Diallo. Krill's expression hardened slightly. Then economic sanctions would be the first step, followed by more direct measures to ensure compliance. The Council cannot afford resistance in this critical time of galactic security. The threat hung in the air, thinly veiled but unmistakable. President Morales maintained her diplomatic smile. We understand completely, emissary. Earth will give this matter our full attention. As the formal reception transitioned to a banquet, Admiral Chen received an urgent encrypted message on her secure neural link. Admiral Zorax's battle group had increased speed and would arrive in the Sol system within 48 hours, far sooner than originally anticipated. The Council was not planning to wait for Earth's answer. They were positioning for immediate enforcement. Chen discreetly approached the President during a musical interlude. Madam President, we need to accelerate our timetable. The Council fleet has advanced its schedule. President Morales's expression didn't change as she continued to watch the performance. How long? 2 days. Then we have 2 days to prepare the truth. Initiate Stage 1 of Operation Disclosure. Emissary Krill was confused. The humans had invited his delegation to observe a routine solar research mission at their outpost on Mercury. Such transparency was unexpected but welcome. Perhaps they were already demonstrating their willingness to cooperate with the Council. The small observation shuttle departed Earth with the diplomatic delegation aboard. Captain Rodriguez once again served as their escort pilot. This facility studies solar phenomena, she explained as they approached the scorched planet. The data helps us improve our shield technologies and predict solar weather. Krill nodded politely, though he found the primitive research station they were approaching rather unimpressive. A few dome structures, some solar collection arrays, nothing the Council hadn't mastered centuries ago. As they docked, Rodriguez checked her console and frowned. Interesting, we're detecting some unusual solar activity. Actually, this might provide a good demonstration of our monitoring capabilities. She activated a display showing the sun, where a massive solar flare was indeed forming. Our early warning system gives us about 40 minutes before. Her explanation was cut short as the solar flare suddenly expanded at an impossible rate, sending a massive ejection of plasma directly toward Mercury. That's not right, Rodriguez said, genuine alarm in her voice. Everyone, secure yourselves. Emergency protocols. The observation station's shields activated, and to Krill's astonishment, they held against the solar onslaught with ease. Not only held, but seemed to absorb and redirect the energy in ways that should have been impossible for human technology. What are we seeing? Asked Krill's scientific advisor, staring at readings that contradicted everything they knew about human capabilities. Captain Rodriguez sighed, tapping her communication device. Madam President, I believe we need to accelerate the timeline further. The solar event was more revealing than anticipated. President Morales's voice came through clearly. Understood, Captain. Bring our guests to Olympus Base. It's time for full disclosure. As the shuttle departed Mercury, Krill noticed something that chilled him to his core. The massive solar flare had been artificial. And now that he was looking more carefully, the Mercury base wasn't just a research station. It was a disguised power collection facility of enormous capacity. The shuttle changed course, heading not back to Earth, but toward Mars. And as they approached the red planet, the facade began to fall away completely. Where Council intelligence had reported only small research outposts, a massive installation revealed itself. A sprawling complex covering nearly 100 square kilometers of the Martian surface. Ships larger than anything Earth was supposed to possess moved in and out of enormous hangars. Welcome to Olympus Base, said Captain Rodriguez, no longer maintaining any pretense. Earth's primary military headquarters and the command center for the Terran Defense Force. Krill could barely form words. This is impossible. Our intelligence was exactly what we wanted you to see. Rodriguez finished for him. For nearly a century, we've maintained the illusion of technological mediocrity while preparing for this moment. As they descended toward the Martian base, a massive ship decloaked in orbit above them, a vessel easily 3 times the size of the largest Council dreadnought. Then another appeared, and another. The Phantom Fleet, Rodriguez explained. 7 supercarriers and their battle groups, completely undetectable until we want them to be seen. Emissary Krill finally understood the terrible mistake the Council had made. They had not come to strong-arm a weak, compliant species. They had awakened a sleeping giant, and Admiral Zorax's battle group was flying directly into a trap. The response: Admiral Zorax stood on the command deck of the Council dreadnought Indomitable Will, watching as his battle group prepared to enter the Sol system. 15 capital ships, 30 cruisers, and numerous support vessels, an overwhelming force meant to intimidate the humans into compliance. "Status report," he demanded. "All ships in formation." "Admiral," his executive officer replied. "We'll reach Earth orbit in approximately 6 hours. No significant defensive movements detected from the Terrans." Zorax grunted in satisfaction. This would be a simple show of force, nothing more. The humans were technological infants compared to the Council. Their few defensive ships would be no match for even one of his cruisers, let alone the entire battle group. "Sir," the communications officer interrupted, "we're receiving a transmission from the Sol system. It's from Admiral Chen of the Terran Defense Force." Zorax frowned. The humans shouldn't have detected their approach yet. On screen, the holographic display activated, showing a human female in a sleek, unfamiliar uniform. Her expression was calm, professional, and entirely too confident for Zorax's liking. "Admiral Zorax," she began without preamble, "this is Admiral Helena Chen of the Terran Defense Force. Your battle group is currently on an intercept course with our system in what we perceive as a hostile approach. Be advised that any unauthorized entry into Terran space will be met with appropriate defensive measures." Zorax barked a laugh. "Admiral Chen, I appreciate your bravado, but let's be realistic. My battle group represents the military might of the Galactic Council. We are here to ensure Earth's compliance with Council directives. Stand down your forces, and this can remain a peaceful operation." Chen's expression didn't change. "Admiral, I'm transmitting coordinates for a neutral meeting point just outside our system's boundary. I suggest we meet there, 1 ship each, to discuss the situation before any irrevocable actions are taken." Zorax considered for a moment. A delaying tactic, most likely, but what could the humans possibly accomplish in a few hours? "Agreed. I will meet you at the designated coordinates in 2 hours." As the transmission ended, his tactical officer approached. "Admiral, something strange is happening. Our long-range sensors are detecting anomalies throughout the Sol system, energy signatures that weren't there before." "Explain." "It's as if ships are appearing out of nowhere. Large ships. Our sensors can't get clear readings on their capabilities." Zorax frowned. "Sensor malfunction. The humans don't have technology that could confuse our systems." Nevertheless, a seed of doubt had been planted. "Maintain course, but raise alert status, and prepare my shuttle for the meeting with Admiral Chen." 2 hours later, Zorax's command shuttle approached the designated coordinates, a region of empty space just beyond the orbit of Pluto. To his surprise, waiting for him was not the primitive Earth vessel he had expected, but a sleek ship unlike any human design on record. As he docked with the vessel, Zorax brought 2 armed guards, standard procedure for such meetings. They were met by Captain Maya Rodriguez, whom his intelligence identified as a mid-level Terran officer. "Admiral, welcome aboard the TDF Vigilant," she said. "Admiral Chen is waiting in the conference room." As they moved through the corridors, Zorax couldn't help noticing the advanced technology surrounding them. Nothing about this ship matched Council intelligence on human capabilities. The conference room doors slid open to reveal Admiral Chen along with another human Zorax recognized as General Marcus Vega. Both stood as he entered. "Admiral Zorax," Chen greeted him. "Thank you for agreeing to this meeting." Zorax wasted no time with pleasantries. "Your show of resistance is futile, Admiral Chen. The Council has spoken. Earth will contribute to the war effort as required." Chen smiled thinly. "I think there's been a misunderstanding about Earth's position in galactic affairs. We've maintained a policy of strategic obscurity for nearly a century, allowing the Council and others to underestimate our capabilities while we prepared." She activated a holographic display showing the Sol system. Red dots appeared throughout, dozens, then hundreds of them. "These are Terran military installations and vessels," she explained. "Until today, they were hidden by our quantum displacement technology. Now they're visible to your sensors." Zorax stared at the display in disbelief. If accurate, the human military was at least 3 times the size his intelligence had indicated. "This is some kind of deception." "No deception, Admiral. Just the truth we've kept hidden." General Vega stepped forward. "Your battle group is currently surrounded by 4 of our carrier groups. They'd been tracking you since you entered the approach vector to our system." As if on cue, a communication came through from the indomitable Will. "Admiral," his executive officer's voice was tense, "massive vessels have decloaked around our position. We're completely surrounded. They've made no hostile moves yet, but their weapons are powered." Zorax felt a cold realization sweep through him. The Council had catastrophically underestimated the humans. "Why?" he demanded. "Why maintain this charade for so long?" "Because we observed how the Council treats its allies," Chen replied. "Forced conscription, resource extraction, subservient political status. Earth chose a different path, to build our strength in secret until we could engage as equals, not subordinates." She leaned forward. "Now let me be clear about our position. Earth has no quarrel with the Galactic Council. We recognize the threat the Scourge represents to all civilized species. We are prepared to join the war effort, but as full and equal partners, not as conscripts. You expect the Council to simply accept these terms. After a century of deception, we expect the Council to recognize reality," General Vega stated bluntly. "Your battle group can leave the Sol system intact, carrying our proposal for alliance, or it can be destroyed as a demonstration of our resolve. The choice is yours, Admiral." 3 days later, the emergency session of the Galactic Council was in uproar. Representatives from hundreds of worlds shouted over each other as Supreme Councilor Vexidian struggled to maintain order. The holographic displays showed the Terran Phantom Fleet, now fully visible to all, in its awe-inspiring entirety. "This is an outrage," shouted the Rigelian delegate. "They've been lying to us for decades. They've been preparing for war against the Council," accused another. President Morales, standing calmly at the center of the chamber, waited for the noise to subside. She had come in person to address the Council, a gesture of respect, but also a show of confidence. "Honored representatives," she began when silence finally fell. "Earth has never prepared for war against the Council. We prepared to ensure we would never be subjugated by it, or any other power." She gestured to the displays. "Yes, we have built a significant military force. Yes, we have developed technologies independently that rival or exceed Council standards in many areas. We did this not out of hostility, but out of prudence." "You deceived us," Vexidian stated flatly. "We protected ourselves," Morales countered. "The Council has a history of treating less advanced species as resources to be exploited rather than partners to be respected. We chose not to place Earth's future in your hands." She paused, looking around the chamber. "But now, facing the Scourge threat, we are prepared to join forces. As equals, the Terran Defense Force stands ready to coordinate with Council fleets. Our scientists are prepared to share technologies that may help turn the tide. "And if we refuse your generous offer?" asked the delegate sarcastically. Admiral Chen, standing beside the president, stepped forward. "Then Earth remains neutral. Your battle against the Scourge continues without our assistance, and should the Scourge prevail and turn toward Sol, we will defend ourselves alone." The chamber erupted again, but this time the tone was different. Many delegates were now arguing in favor of accepting the human proposal. "The Scourge have pushed back 3 of our fleets in the Antares sector," the Centauri delegate noted. "If the human technology is as advanced as it appears, we would be fools to reject their aid." Vexidian raised his 4 arms for silence again. "This council must consider all implications. We will recess for 1 day to consult with our governments." As the session adjourned, Selika, the junior Arcturian diplomat, approached President Morales cautiously. "Madam President, if I may, I visited Earth 3 years ago. I suspected then that something wasn't as it seemed." Morales smiled. "Many suspected, Diplomat K. Few asked the right questions." "And now? What happens now?" "Now we forge a new relationship, one based on mutual respect rather than intimidation." Morales looked out at the stars visible through the council chamber's vast windows. "The galaxy is changing. The old order is giving way to something new. Earth intends to help shape that future." 1 week later, the newly formed Joint Command, comprising both Council and Terran military leaders, convened aboard the Terran supercarrier Defiance. Admiral Chen and Admiral Zorax, now reluctant colleagues, reviewed the strategic situation. "The Scourge have adapted to our standard tactics," Zorax explained, pointing to battle recordings from the front lines. "Their high ships are now equipped with energy shields similar to our own. Our weapons are becoming less effective with each engagement." Chen nodded. "This is why technological diversity is crucial. The Scourge can adapt to known weapon systems, but our quantum displacement technology and phase cannons represent something entirely new to them." "You're proposing a joint strike force." "Precisely. Council ships equipped with Terran weapons technology, supported by our Phantom-class destroyers. The Scourge won't be able to adapt to multiple new threats simultaneously." Zorax considered the proposal. His pride still stung from the revelation of Earth's deception, but he was a military professional first. It could work. The Antares sector would be the logical testing ground. The Scourge presence there is significant but not overwhelming. "Agreed. I've already ordered the Defiance and 2 escort groups to prepare for deployment." As they finalized the operational details, a junior officer approached with an urgent communication. "Admirals, we're receiving reports from the Gamma Draconis system. The Scourge have broken through the defensive line. 3 planets are under direct attack." Zorax's scales paled. "Gamma Draconis is only 3 jumps from the Council hub. If it falls, the Defiance can be ready to jump in 6 hours, Chen stated immediately. "With your battle group alongside, we can reach Gamma Draconis in under 2 days." Their eyes met. 2 military leaders from vastly different cultures, united by a common threat. "It seems our new alliance faces its first test sooner than expected," Zorax said grimly. "So it does." Chen extended her hand in the human gesture of agreement. After a moment's hesitation, Zorax clasped it with his scaled hand. "For the survival of all our peoples," he said. "For the future of the galaxy," Chen replied. As alarms sounded throughout the Defiance and crew rushed to battle stations, a new chapter in galactic history was beginning. The humans had revealed their true strength not a moment too soon. The Scourge threat was escalating, and the fate of countless worlds now rested on this unlikely alliance, forged in deception, sealed in necessity, but perhaps in time, to be strengthened by mutual respect. In the observation deck of the Defiance, President Morales stood with Supreme Counselor Vexidian, watching as the combined fleet prepared for departure. "I still don't fully understand," Vexidian admitted. "Why reveal yourselves now? You could have remained safely neutral." Morales smiled sadly. "Because true strength isn't measured by ships or weapons, counselor. It's measured by the courage to stand against destruction, even when there's nothing to gain but survival itself. She turned to face him fully. Humanity has never been interested in conquest or domination. What we want, what we have always wanted, is to forge our own destiny among the stars. Not as subjects, not as servants, but as equals. The mighty engines of the Defiance hummed to life, preparing to carry the combined might of humanity and the Council races to the defense of distant worlds. Whatever the future held, the galaxy would never be the same. The silent vanguard had revealed itself, and in doing so, had perhaps saved them all. Outside the viewports, Earth shimmered like a blue jewel against the darkness of space, no longer hiding its strength, no longer pretending to be less than it was. After a century of preparation, humanity had finally taken its rightful place among the stars. Not as the conquered, but as the defenders. Not as the weak seeking protection, but as the strong offering aid. A new dawn was breaking across the galaxy, and it carried the unmistakable mark of human ingenuity, human determination, and human compassion. The silent vanguard had awakened, and the universe trembled, not in fear, but in hope.